Recording. Howdy doody, everybody. It probably was very loud. I just screamed. Welcome back to another episode of Music Mondays, guys. This is episode 70, and I'm Leah. And I'm applying chapstick very aggressively. I'm so sorry. Welcome. Sorry, but I'm also not. And this week we're talking about Cheap Queen by King Princess. Evan just texted me, start that intro over, OMG. I'm not going to. King Princess. All right, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Michaela Melanie Strauss is King Princess's real name. They are Burger King? Brooklyn. Apparently, apparently they were offered a record deal at age 11 because apparently they are a musical prodigy. But they declined because they wanted to go to school. Like, what child wants to go to school? But apparently, little tiny King Princess was like, I want to go to school and study music to find my sound, because their dad is a recording engineer. And so they grew up in, like, basically always being in a booth. And so they said that the reason they declined that record deal is because they were like, they'd seen too many people like give up their opinions and their sound for what the label wanted. And so they wanted to go actually like study music and find their sound and understand what kind of music they actually wanted to make, instead of letting a label turn them into a 11-year-old pop star or something. So yeah. So they went to USC to study music. They play multiple instruments, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And Mark Ronson, I didn't know that Mark Ronson had his own label called Zelig Records. It's a sub-label under Columbia Records, but he signed King Princess. Fun fact I found while doing a little bit of research. They're currently dating Quinn Whitney Wilson, who is the creative director for Lizzo. So that's fun and cool. King Princess has roughly 6.225 million monthly listeners on Spotify and 491,000 followers on Spotify. This album's called Cheap Queen. It is one of the singles that they released is titled Cheap Queen. And it was released on October 25th, 2019. And I want to talk about, I looked at Genius to find like who the album was produced by. And so it's Kid Harpoon, King Princess, Mike Malshikoff, and two other people that I don't want to expand the thing to be. But this is listen to the people that are also credited on this. Father John Misty played the drums. And that's the only one that's really interesting. But what King Princess is credited as bass, drums, keyboards, programmer, and synthesizer and vocals. Like, they had a hand in a lot of shit. And there's only one person that's featured on the album, and it's Tobias Jesso Jr., who's a Canadian singer, songwriter, and musician from Canada, North Vancouver. Yes, could you believe? Um, I know it's pretty wild. um, yeah. The so Cheap Queen is currently sitting in the 88th spot of the U.S. current charts, the 8th spot of the U.S. heat charts, the 18th spot of the U.S. alternative charts, and the 41st spot on the Australian charts. I'm not sure because it doesn't say. Hmm. Right. Um, King Princess was just announced the other day, actually, on November 13th, that they are opening for the European leg of Harry Styles' 2020 concert tour, Love on Tour, which is pretty cool. They're also perform. They performed at Lollapalooza and Coachella this year, and at the Glastonbury Festival, um, which was pretty cool. Um, let's talk about the album, shall we? What was your favorite? Yeah, that's the ending track. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. 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 Yeah. Hmm. I can hear that sizzle. Sounds good. Can you smell that, kids? Yes, I would agree with that. Definitely. Hmm. I do wish, I do wish, which I mean, maybe it would ruin the significance of each song, but I wish that the transitions were better just because I'm a whore for a good transition. Like on, what song is it? At the end of Useless Phrases, it does that like, Like I wanted the next song to like have something that yeah. Which while I'm talking about useless phrases, the first like 45 seconds of that minute and a half long song, so like the first half of it makes me feel like I'm in a Wii game or like in the Wii shop. Like if you listen to it in like kind of sway, it feels like you're a Wii. You're a me. I know. Yeah. But yeah, that song makes me feel like I'm watching somebody play a Wii game or something. Tough on Myself is probably my favorite. It's a really relatable song. I think that I mean, maybe not, maybe not every young girl, but a lot of young girls can relate to that song. Just people in general. Um, and I mean, obviously, Cheap Queen is good. Um, I also quite liked um, Homegirl. I think was the one that I liked. It was either Homegirl or Prophet. It was one of those two. Um, but it was good and fun. Some are better than others, but they're all good. Mm-mm. A lot of people don't even care about that. Right. Yeah, I think so too. I actually had the same reaction as you did the first listen, where I was like really, really excited for this album. And then I listened to it for the first time and I was like, oh, I kind of don't care. Like that was kind of my first reaction. And so I almost didn't want to listen again. And then I've probably listened to it another 4 times since. And every time I listen, it's better. And I think it's the lyricism. I think that it at like it's well produced, but it doesn't sound interesting, but the lyrics make it interesting. So I think that that's what pulled me in. I mean, it's pop music. It is pop music. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. um, I think that we talked about doing Bishop Briggs' new album next week, but if you would have, I actually listened to that album for the first time immediately after listening to this album for the first time, and they sound the same. Like if you just like listen to them artificially, not like not really listening to them, not like immersing yourself in the lyrics, they're both just alternative pop albums. But once you listen to both of the albums more than once, you're like, oh, there's depth here, and oh, I hear the artistry behind each one, and that's why I think that people shouldn't shit on pop music because it's not. I mean, it's called pop music because it's popular, but it's it's popular for a reason. People like it. It's good. It's good music. So I think that it's yeah, right. Yeah, it's great. But I would encourage you to go listen to Bishop Briggs' album, and you're gonna be like, oh, this does sound the fucking same. And then you'll listen to it a couple more times, and you'll be like, oh, cool. Yeah, and Bishop Briggs is really cool because I mean, first of all, she's bald. She shaves her head, which just makes her cool right off the bat. But she's also like an insane performer. Like I think Donna Missile was on tour with her for a hot minute. So like if that gives you any like scale of coolness. Oh yeah, she always does that like she put out an interview that said that her next album sounds completely different. And if it's anything like that single she put out, I'm very excited. So do you have any closing statements on Cheap Queen? uh, it's okay. I mean, I listen to a lot of pop music. Actually, like I'm pretty certain that Ariana Grande is going to be at the top of my most listened to artist this year. I'm pretty certain. She put out 2 albums this year. Of course she's going to be like, and they're both fabulous. Yeah. I just I forget about what's been put out. I feel like last year there was a fuck ton of music put out, and then this year like there was a decent amount put out like late spring, early summer, but like really not a ton that I've been excited about in the fall and winter. Yeah, yeah. Oh, what should we do? Yeah, yeah. I but speaking of, next week we're not doing a new album. We are talking about Lows Wise High Highs to Low Lows, which is another pop album, and it's very neat. And I like her a lot, and I've listened to that album several times, and I think you're gonna like it. Uh huh. Muriel, she's fabulous. She's very good, and I like her a lot. So while you're listening to that album to get ready for next week's episode, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, anywhere you can find a podcast at Music Monday Cast. Beach. I think that's it. Um, then you're gonna eat some chili, and then you're gonna go to bed. Womp. Anyways, have a very musical Monday. Goodbye. Gooby gooby.